Is Jongho overrated? And other unpopular K-pop opinions that won't give you cancer but might get me canceled. Let's go. Not every idol looks their best with blonde hair. I know, spicy hot take, but you would think that it was blasphemy to say such a thing out loud. It's just a fact that there are some hair colors that look better on some idols than others. That's because despite any evidence to the contrary, they are actually human. Sometimes it may not even be a matter that blonde looks bad on somebody, but it's just the wrong shade of blonde. Like, toner is $10 a bottle, guys. I'll go to Sally Beauty Supply for you if I have to. How do they manage to take Sakura, an idol known for her visuals, and make her look more deep fried than the chicken in Chick-fil-A? I've said before that one of my biggest pet peeves is when stylists have all of the freedom in the world to flatter the individual idols and they just choose not to for some reason. It is seriously not that hard to try a wig on before you fry these idols' hair. And it shouldn't mean that you're an anti of the group if you say, this isn't her best look. Like, I'll be the first to admit that I look like a ghost with black hair, and you're just lying to me if you're saying she doesn't look washed out like this. If you've never taken time to learn about color seasons, they were kind of revolutionary for me in terms of defining my personal style and figuring out what colors work best for me. I really recommend Ellie Jean Royden's channel, which I'll go ahead and link below in the description. The TLDR is that idols who have lower contrast in their features will generally look better with lighter hairstyles than idols who have very heavily contrasting features. Some people genuinely look their best with their natural hair color. In fact, most people do. Not every idol looks great blonde, and that's okay. Unless you're the person styling them, in which case do better. Next up, 143 Entertainment is right to rename Limelight. However, they really screwed it up by doing so after announcing that Yeso and Mashiro were going to be leaving Kepler to join the group. It has to be so confusing for people who don't follow every single bit of Kepler news as it comes out. If you're unfamiliar with the abbreviation SEO, it stands for Search Engine Optimization. And what it means is that when someone searches for that phrase, your content comes up first. As much as I may roast Le Seraphim about their name, this is one thing that they did actually get right. No one was using the phrase Le Seraphim on the internet before the group existed. The issue is that the term Limelight is already used in so many articles discussing other idols. Their new name, MADEIN, is a pun on the word maiden, with the alternate spelling to allow them to monopolize the search results. Bottom line, MADEIN is a better name than Limelight, and it's better to change it late than never. SEO was actually something I kept in mind when I was naming this YouTube channel, although somehow during the past week, Dear Yoongi managed to show up first on the video results. I'm not mad because I love her channel, but I'm also a little mad because what the hell, man? Guess I better start overthinking stuff harder, eh? Let's ease into it though. Some of these opinions are real spicy and I don't want to nuke my watch time. This next one feels like it should be common sense, and yet K-pop record labels really don't seem to have gotten the memo yet. Where is all of the women's merch at K-pop shows? Stop pretending that unisex t-shirts are unisex when you know that means that they're made for men. 70 to 90% of K-pop fans worldwide are women, so why are you selling me men's t-shirts and providing no other remotely cute options? My kingdom for a fitted crop top. I have these K-pop shirts that I'm never going to wear in public because I refuse to swim in my clothing. This seems like such a no-brainer to me. I really just need to make friends with somebody with a Cricut and make my own bootleg merch. Not to sell, just to have. But like, that's money you're leaving on the table. Also, speaking of that, every time you send a group on tour without a light stick, you are absolutely losing out. And yes, I am talking about Everglow. Naturally, I'm going to see them again when they come back to Denver in a few weeks, but I'm pretty ready to be disappointed when I look at the merch stand again. Merch is such an easy way to make money. Why can't you just try just a little bit harder? The profit margins on light sticks in particular are absolutely wild. Bottom line, take my money, damn it. Here's another unpopular opinion. ROCKSTAR was a bop, actually. Lisa from Blackpink recently re-debuted as a soloist under her new label, RCA Records, which is handling her Western promotions. Don't worry, casual blinks. Blackpink is still signed with YG, and they actually came out and said that they're going to be having a comeback and a world tour next year, so there's lots to look forward to for the group. ROCKSTAR seems to be yet another example of the more I like a song, the more polarizing it's going to be to the K-pop listening public. I'm not kidding you when I tell you that the first time I watched this music video, I was hooting and hollering like my team was winning the Super Bowl. Since then, I've definitely seen quite a few people complaining that they were unimpressed with the song online, and I'm like, what were you really expecting? I also don't agree with the claims that it sticks entirely to the YG formula. There's only one verse, and the chorus actually has lyrics. Definitely not something Blackpink is known for, as empty choruses are kind of their trademark. I will give you that most of the song is written in Phrygian mode, which is something that Blackpink uses a lot in their music, and I think that that might be part of why it may sound familiar to some people. It does also end with a killer dance break, but who's mad about that? Anyone who is mad about dance breaks is dumb as far as I'm concerned. They're like the highlight of K-pop for me. I also saw some people complaining that the lyrics weren't deep enough for them. I think that part of the issue is that they're all in English, so you can actually understand all of them. A lot of K-pop lyrics are equally stupid, it's just that half of them are in Korean, so you don't really notice. After how much more successful Money was than the Lisa last time around, it makes a lot of sense that she opted to go for an all-English single. This is all about targeting an international audience, which is part of why the video has such an international flavor to it. And she actually references that in one of the lines in the pre-chorus, which has a really great pun nested in it that I doubt most people noticed. The line is, "Ben MIA, BKK so pretty, every city that I go is my city." Like most people, I initially interpreted MIA to mean missing in action, but it occurred to me that BKK is actually the abbreviation for Bangkok, the airport in Thailand, and MIA is the abbreviation for Miami International Airport. So the song could really be saying, "Ben from Miami to Bangkok, every city that I go is my city." Or maybe she's referencing the Sri Lankan rapper by the same name. Angelina pointed out that this song bears some similarities to MIA's song Bad Girls. That song is actually written in Phrygian dominant, but I can see where the resemblance is. Either way, if you hate the song, I'm sorry for you. It's great. If you're offended by the double entendre in the lyrics, please grow up. Are you 5? Because if you are, you probably shouldn't get the joke. So why do you care? Just ignore it if it bothers you. Who am I kidding though? This is Blackpink. People will literally move mountains to find a reason to hate on them. My bottom line is, if you hate Lisa's Rockstar, it's probably just that you actually hate Blackpink. Next up, I actually love when idols make tiny slip-ups during performances. I feel like it humanizes them. It's also a good way for them to show whether the mics are on, although I don't particularly appreciate that stunt that JYP pulled with NMIX where they cut their audio without telling the performers ahead of time. I'm talking about organic slip-ups where somebody misses a cue or does a dance move incorrectly. K-pop fans have these absolutely insane expectations of perfection every single time, and it's just boring. What's the fun of watching 12 copies of the same performance? My bottom line is that imperfections and nuances are what make live performances interesting. So stop crucifying idols who aren't 100% perfect all the time. Which I guess is a segue into one of my slightly spicier opinions. Next up, Jongho is overrated. Okay, no, that's clickbaity. No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. It's not that Jongho is overrated. It's that the rest of the AT's vocal line is underrated and underutilized, which is to say that Jongho is overutilized. Don't get me wrong, he is a very talented vocalist, but his technique isn't perfect. He often sounds kind of forced, particularly when he's trying to explore the upper ends of his range. And there are other members like Wooyoung and Yeosang who are so talented, but who seldom get big moments vocally. Yeosang steals the show in Halazia, and nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Supposedly, ATEEZ does their line distribution by having everybody learn the entire song and then picking who sings which part best. But I feel like it's pretty obvious at this point that there's some bias baked into those assumptions. I feel like the group's sound would genuinely benefit from the additional nuance provided by a more equitable line distribution. Bottom line, ATEEZ needs a better line distribution. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Don't be toxic, and I'll catch you next time.